Well, here we go. The Rangers are still in the market for a closer, but will they get one? We've got a guy here who knows all about this stuff. It's Mark McLemore, and we're going to talk baseball with him and with you. It's the DLLS Rangers Podcast. Well, this is what I love about the English language. You look at that and say, closer to closer? No, it's closer to closer. You see what I did there, Mac?
I saw how you did that. That's you. I saw that. That's pretty good.
Mark McLemore, the doctor of defense, joining me, John Radigan Rads, and J-Dub over there. Jeff Wilson. We've got TC in today. So, and I see the Prophet's already weighing in the chat. So I love Prophet. That. Yeah, it's good to hear from you, Prophet. So he's never too far removed, but we got TC Fleming in here today. And Jeff's going special hat day.
That's right. Last week, you'll recall, I think it was last week. It wasn't long ago. National Hat Day. And so during the show, I went ahead and bought some hats. So we're going to run through them segment by segment, but this is a low A this year, Hickory, and this is the Hickory Dickory Docks hat that I wore on National Hat Day. So we got some more coming up here every 15 minutes.
They have any like playful character hats when you were playing, Mac?
Well, I played for a team called the Edmonton Trappers.
Okay.
So I don't know if it can get any wilder than that logo that they had.
Okay.
Ooh. It was very big on the helmet, or on the helmet and the hat.
Yeah.
We had it on our sleeve. But yeah, that's probably the
wildest.
Wildest.
Now they're going animated and all this stuff now, which is cool. And there's a couple more Jeff will roll out during the course of the show. We do want to talk about the closer situation today. And if you saw, and I hope you did, and if you're a diehard, you definitely did, Jeff wrote about this today. And that is the fact that Jon Gray, who we've always said, look, this guy's in the last year of his contract. There's no way he wants to close. Well, I'll be dang, Jeff, you've kind of found out otherwise.
Yeah, I was surprised, because I had talked to him about it last season at one point. Hey, what about you closing full time? He's like, very hemmy and high, and damn, all of a sudden. I talked to him yesterday on the show, and we're going to have the clip here in a second, and he's like, hey, I'm all for it. So here's the clip from the weekly podcast with me and John Moore.
Yeah. Hey, I know you have heard this before because I've talked to you about it. There are a lot of people that want you to be a reliever, not just a reliever, a closer. I guess because of the World Series. But, we broached that with Chris Young and Bruce Bochy, and like, no way, this guy's a starter. Has that even come up, this closing stuff?
It's just like another fun option, I guess. Like if someone were to ask me to do it, yeah, of course I'll do it. I think it'd be kind of fun. I think it'd work out really good too. But yeah, I mean, it just seems like something I wouldn't have to really prepare much for, I guess, because I've been through it once and I kind of understand it now a little bit. So I think it'd be an easy transition. But yeah, there's something about that seems really cool, like throwing the last pitch of the game, closing it out, like maybe get some little energy in your body, because as a starter, you never want to be like early on. So yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, I'd be up for it.
Is it something though that like you would have to be told now, like because now you still have time to change your mind, I guess. Right now you're in the mindset of starting, and I don't know, like if on June 3rd they're like, hey, you're closer now, it seemed like you would need more time to get your mind right, or am I making way too much out of that?
I probably wouldn't need that much time, honestly. I don't think I would, because I keep it. You'd be surprised at how simple I keep it down there. So, yeah, I think I can blend it pretty well.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
And to bring things full circle, Jon Gray looks like an Edmonton Trapper, doesn't he?
It might have been him on that hat. Wow,
Looks like he
I
could-
still have one, I think, somewhere. So I'll take a look.
He could go do some trapping. I'll tell you that right now. And I think Jeff's question, it's one of the things I wanted to discuss this whole closer situation with you, because at Bally, Mac and I were together at Fox and then Bally for 10 years, 12 years, I don't even know how many. And there were, producers and behind the scenes people and me, probably to the least extent, but always kind of freaking out over little things. And Mac would come in and go, whoa. Here comes the voice of reason, man. Take it easy, guys. So are we freaking out too much that, they've got 5 relievers in here. None of them have closed a bunch, and they could start the season like this without a guy who's technically a closer. Is this a big deal in your mind, in the mind of players?
For me, I don't think it's a big deal. And I don't think it's a big deal for any of the players, especially the veteran players that know Jon Gray. They've seen him. Some of them have faced him, so they know what kind of stuff he has. I personally think he's got great stuff. I think he has the stuff to be a closer. He's got a great fastball. He spots that fastball just like he's a starter. He can use that slider. He's got one of the best sliders in the game, and then throw that occasional changeup. But when you're closing, he can bump that, 95, 96 where he's normally at when he's starting.
Yeah.
He can bump that up closer to triple digits because, hey, he's going all out. He may throw 20 pitches. That's pretty much all you want to do. You don't want to get into the 25 and 30 when you're, pitch mark when you're closing. But going out there and giving everything for 20 pitches to get 3 outs, I think he can absolutely do it. And really having the 2 pitches or 3 pitches actually, that's great, but it's more about the mindset, the mental part of the game, because that's tough. You're going out there, your team has the lead, they fought hard for 8 innings, they want to finish out the 9th inning, and you go in there and give it up. You've got to sit on that. You've got to wear it till the next day or until the next time you get back out there. So it's more the mental part of it. He has the stuff, and he's a veteran player. I wouldn't really worry too much about the mental part of it because I think he's got that. So I'd love to see him do it.
Yeah, you think back to the World Series and Game 3.
Yeah,
Max Scherzer gets hurt at a pretty critical part of the game, and 3rd inning, I think it was, or the top of the 4th, and Jon Gray comes in and just blows him away. 3 innings. I think he did it on like 27 pitches, and I think he got the win and all that stuff. And everybody, ever since then, people are like, oh man, Jon Gray, that's pretty good stuff. And he pitched early last season against the Braves out of the bullpen and just blew the doors off of them. So the stuff ticks up, and he was kind of talking about it there. You go from the second you're in the game, you're not saving anything for later in the inning or later in the game, and so it's pretty good stuff. And there are people at the Rangers who think this guy could definitely do it, but as we've talked about, they're short on those innings. You got 3 guys coming off of Tommy John surgery. John only threw 101 innings last year,
right,
dealing with various things. Cody Bradford didn't get above 80, I don't think. And so who are your healthiest starters at that point? Well, Jack Leiter didn't get hurt last year, but he still only threw 112 innings, and most of those were in the minors. So you're really towing a thin line here on the innings. To take that away, you'd have to sign another starter.
Yeah, you got Nathan Eovaldi, who threw 170.
Yeah,
he's about the only guy that gave you any length and anywhere near 200 or north of 150 in that regard. So
and even he was hurt last year.
That's right,
and he has been on the injured list. Well, each of his first 2 years he's on the IL. So it's the health isn't great.
It's not as easy as it sounds.
Yeah.
Either you take a Jon Gray out of the rotation, put him as your closer. Okay, well, where are those innings? Who's going to make up those innings? You got to either go out and sign a starter who's, a proven starter who's given, those kind of innings that you're looking for before, or you sign a closer. Now, which one's going to be easier? I actually think getting a starting pitcher that can eat up innings, I think that's easier than getting that guy who can just absolutely slam the door. And that's what a closer is. A guy that's just going to come in and shut things down. Can Jon Gray do that? Yes, but they also have to look at, hey, how do we replace his innings in the rotation? And like you said, there are other guys that are coming off injury, so we don't really know how that's going to go either. So
and young guys like Rocker and even Leiter, who Jeff mentioned, and we don't know. You can't push either of those guys, I don't think, like to 150 or 200 innings.
Right. And then it's the domino effect. You take the guy out, well, your depth gets shortened up. So when the starter gets hurt, and that's going to happen, okay, maybe Dane Dunning's in the bullpen, you put him in the rotation. Okay, well, who are you going to put in the bullpen to piggyback, because you're still going to need to piggyback probably these guys. So, and then that, Teodo, who's on the 40-man roster, but he's never pitched above Double-A, right? Dane Acker, who's now he's not on the 40-man, but he'll be a Triple-A. Ryan Garcia will be a Triple-A. You're just really kind of, do you want those guys who haven't pitched in the major leagues coming up and filling a critical role? And at some point they're going to have to.
Right.
But do you want to do it, I don't know, in September when you get, you have a 2-game lead and you're playing the second place team over a 4-game series? It's delicate.
Yeah,
it's a delicate situation.
It is. And we've just talked ourselves out of putting Jon Gray as a closer. So
I did not. I'm going to go with it. I like it.
Well, I think the Rangers have talked us out.
They have.
Chris Young and Bruce Bochy said
That's
it at
right.
the All-Star game, or not the All-Star game, the winter meetings, and I texted Ross Fenstermaker last night, and he said no changes on that. So
yeah,
I think it would take something pretty extraordinary to happen for John
so
to be the closer.
Mac, given that, going into this season with Chris Martin as your guy who would probably be the sort of de facto, the closer, having really never done it before, but we've seen him, we know his stuff. Right. Are you, as Mark McLemore, or you as Mark McLemore, 25 years ago as a player, comfortable with that?
Yeah, I think, he's a veteran player, first of all. He's pitched, he's been around, he's been through it, he's been in the postseason, so he understands what it takes. But it's the mentality. That's always going to be the biggest thing. How does that guy handle, hey, everything's on the line, I've got to get these 3 outs? Because it is different coming in the 9th inning with the game on the line as opposed to coming in the 4th or 5th inning because somebody got hurt or whatever. It is totally different. That's why we've all seen it. I've played with a lot of guys who were great setup guys.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But could not close. For whatever reason, they'd go from the 8th inning, get into the 9th inning with, a save situation, and the wheels would just fall off. So it's different. It's not as easy as people think, hey, let me, this guy throws really hard or he throws strikes. Let's put him, as the closer. Doesn't really work that way. There's some guys that can do it and just some guys that cannot. But, Chris Martin, I'd be comfortable with him. And I think what the Rangers are probably going to do, if they can't get a closer before the season starts, they may do it by committee.
Yeah.
Until they really realize, hey, okay, we need something different. We need that shutdown guy in the 9th inning that everybody knows. And when he comes in, that pretty much means it's over. So I think they're going to be in a wait and see pattern. But, I know Chris Young, he's not going to just be sleeping and sitting around, not trying to make a deal happen that's going to fit for them.
Yeah. Have you seen a guy, like when you were still playing, come in the 9th and you just see it in his eyes? Like, oh, man, this guy ain't going to get it done.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I played with one in particular. I'm not going to say who it is. But, yeah, it can be tough. And, I played with another guy that, did not want to close at all. And we had no other option. And so it called him in and said, hey, will you close for it? And he absolutely blew a gasket. I mean, he tore up the manager's office, tore up the locker room, all because he didn't want to close. And it's like, okay.
It's all right. Yeah.
I was like, hey, I told you guys that before, but you wanted to ask. There you go. So,
sorry I asked. Yeah.
So they're, some guys are just deathly afraid of it, but you put them in any other inning, in any other situation, setup guy, lefty reliever, specialist, whatever, and they perform. They do well. But you put them in that closer role, it's a little different.
Yeah, yeah. I think we saw it at times with Leclerc, especially if he knew that his command was off or whatever, and he was out there searching. You could tell, but
his body language, but his breaths.
But when they're right, then like he was in the postseason, he was a confident guy out there.
It's like you said, when you look in a guy's eyes, I could see that if he had his stuff, if he felt confident that day or not, you could typically see it. And if something didn't go right, he give up a walk, leadoff hitter or double. You could see, do those shoulders go down? Is he shaking his head? Is he mad? What is he doing? How's he reacting? that's when you know, because they're going to let you know. But the guys that are the good ones that do it for a long time, they do not care.
Yeah.
They don't care. That's how you get to be a very good closer.
Yeah, yeah. So are we closer to closer? I don't know. We feel like maybe we're closer to a closer by committee, but I think the Rangers, as Max said, and Chris Young are going to work it as hard as they can to make sure they have, the best team out there that they possibly can. So we've got more coming up as we chat with the Doctor of Defense, Mark McLemore, and we talk lots about other things in baseball, including his experiences with the Hall of Famers that are in the new class of the Hall of Fame. We've got that coming up. Plus next, Rivalry Talk, baseball Rivalry Talk on the DLLS Rangers Podcast. But the East-West Shrine game is nigh upon us. It's next week, and you have got to get yourself some tickets to that. It's right here. It's the 100th anniversary of this great college football game. It's an all-star game. You'll see some great players in that game. How do you know that? Just look at the past. There have been 80 Pro Football Hall of Famers who played in this game. Rico Dowdle from the Cowboys and their punter Brian Anger both played in the East-West Shrine Bowl. And the list is so long. 200 college football Hall of Famers played in this game. So we encourage you to get tickets to the East-West Shrine Bowl. Go to eastwestshrinebowl.com, and if you buy 2 tickets or more and use the code DLLS, you will get 50% off your tickets. East-West Shrine game coming to Jerry World next week. Make sure you're there too.
Yeah, and with that 50% off, you're just going to roll it right into the Sleeper app because Sleeper makes sports even more fun. Mm-hmm. They're known for their fantasy stuff, but they've gotten into the daily picks. I am a fairly avid Sleeper player. I'm really looking forward to baseball season because that's when I had my biggest ever win on the Sleeper app. But it just makes it fun. You learn more about the sport that you're from the players you choose, whether Giannis Antetokounmpo, whatever his name is, will he have a double-double? I'm a big double-double guy. You can even manipulate the totals and everything. So it's fun. It's not going to break your bank, and it's going to put a little money in your pocket if you do it right. So download the Sleeper app and use the code DLLS Rangers for a $100 first match deposit.
I hope that all of us, speaking of the NBA, I hope that all of our diehards had a chance to see our Mavs postgame coverage last night. How about the Mavs beating the Thunder for the 3rd time this season? And I mean the depleted Mavs right now. That's a heck of a win. They beat them last week, but the Thunder didn't have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, their MVP candidate. But, man, they beat him full steam, full strength up there last night. So pretty cool. Hope you watched that. We appreciate you watching this. Chat with us if you would. Keep those going. We'll talk about some of what you're saying a little later on in the program. MLB did a list. Everybody loves lists, man. Everybody loves lists. So they did a list of the best rivalries, and they went through each of the divisions to talk about what the best rivalry in that division is. As they often do, they started with the American League East. And I immediately knew that the list was bogus.
Absolutely.
It was bogus because it said that the biggest rivalry in the American League East, and this is a team you played for, they said it was the Yankees and the Orioles.
No.
Come on.
It will never be the Yankees and the Orioles and the AL East as the biggest rivalry. It just won't happen. It will always be the Yankees and Boston.
Yeah, and we all know that. And because it's shoved down our throat every year about every time. What do they play? Yes. They're playing up to 14 times now, and every time they play, by God, it's some sort of a game of the week that ESPN shoved down our throat. So, but it's still, I thought it still sparked me, even though the list is bogus, it still sparked me to think about and talk about, especially with you, rivalries in this game. I think it's obvious, completely obvious, what the rivalry is in the American League West. Yes. And it's a rivalry, interestingly, that I think baseball has tried to, they finally got him into the American League, but way back in the Tom Hicks days, they were trying to sort of spur this rivalry on and having you guys play them in interleague and stuff like that. It wasn't a rivalry then. No. Yeah.
It was not. And, they even tried to make the Diamondbacks a rivalry with us. And that just, didn't go over too well. But you better believe, since the Astros have been in the AL West, they have been the Rangers' hottest rival. There's no question about it. I think it will always be that way. And I think Major League Baseball wanted it that way. And it should be that way. So it's a great rivalry. And it's had its, swings back and forth, obviously. There was a time we weren't very good and they were, and a time that they weren't very good and we were. So that's what a rivalry is all about. But you've got to beat up on them when you can, when you have the opportunity. So hopefully it looks like it's swinging back.
It might be.
Our way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I think the first year was 13 when the Astros moved to the National League, and part of the deal was that they got to be on the first Sunday Night Baseball. That was part of the incentive, or maybe not. They got to be on national TV. The game was picked up nationally. Matt Harrison started and kind of got lit up, and the next night, Yu Darvish came within an out of a perfect game.
Yes,
and so, but those teams were terrible. Those Astros teams were awful.
Yeah.
And then 15, they flirted with it, and that's probably where the rivalry started, because they were the team the Rangers had to chase down, and they did, and then they held them off in 16, or they didn't really hold them off. They just ran away from them in 16. But ever since then, it's kind of been heavily with the Astros. Even in 23, it was lopsided until, the ALCS when it really, really mattered. But it's fun. The two fan bases carry on social media. And so, yeah, it's a rivalry now.
Yeah, and that late August game in 23, when the Rangers lost, was a Sunday day game, getaway day. The Rangers had lost the previous 2 or maybe even 3, I don't remember, but they'd lost each game of the series to that point, and they came out and scored like 11 in the first 2 innings. And lost, or did they win in extras? I can't remember, but they fell behind. I do remember that.
Yeah, there was a game. Martin Perez started it, and he gave up 6 runs in like the first time through the order, basically. Okay. Like Altuve homered in his first 2 at bats, maybe first 3 at bats, but and then they came back, almost tied it, almost won the game. And then there was that late August September series where the Astros just came in and blew their doors off.
Yeah, yeah.
No game was even close. The Sunday game was a little close, but it's still like the Astros are scoring 10, 12, 15 runs, and it was just like, oh God, this is not a good look going into the final month.
What's crazy about rivalries is you have them over the years, and players from both teams are changing all the time.
Right.
But that rivalry is still there. It's a team, it's a city thing. It's amazing because you'll have guys obviously go to that other team, that rival team, and all of a sudden their allegiance just changes, and it just keeps it going. It keeps it alive. But man, I'll tell you what, that Astros Rangers one, I really like that. I've liked it for a long time.
So in the American League West, when you were in it, which again, you were one of those guys that changed teams within division, who was the Rangers' rival, like in that stretch of 96, 98, 99 when they were when you guys were winning?
We had a couple. It was really Seattle and Oakland.
Yeah.
Those were the 2 teams that were good. They were continuously good, consistently good, and we were as well. So making sure that we beat them. And I remember one year we got eliminated by Seattle in Texas. That was not a good feeling. Mm-hmm. And I actually ran into Lou Piniella after the game in the parking garage, and in my best Lou Piniella voice, I said, "Hey Lou, congratulations, you guys eliminated." Son, we haven't lost anything, or we haven't won anything yet. I was like, okay, well, I'm making my vacation plan.
You're still playing.
Yeah,
so, you're still playing. Yeah. And I remember one year you guys won one of the 98, maybe you won in Seattle. You clinched in Seattle.
We did. That was kind of weird. We lost the game. I can't remember who it was that was chasing us, but they lost, and they were on the East Coast. So it was actually, we found out.
You knew.
Yeah, we knew during the game we were losing, and it was just, okay, so what do we do? You're sitting here, we're in the game, we're losing the game. We can't get up, stop the game, and cheer, especially, on the road. That's just not going to happen. Yeah. So it was just kind of weird. We end up losing the game, and we're all just walking around kind of, congratulating ourselves. And it looked, if you were a Seattle fan, like hey, they're congratulating each other because they lost. But yeah, that was a strange one. That's probably the strangest one that I was involved in.
Yeah, and of course, 96, you had to wait for a game. You lost that game too at home, but you had to wait for a game to end. It was a West Coast game. Yeah.
And everybody stayed. We all stayed and waited and watched, and that was fun. But winning it, and you're at home on your own field, on your own turf, that's the best way to do it. No question.
Yeah, no doubt about that. That's so much fun. Did you have? I assume you did. I know you did, but individual rivalries.
Me?
Yeah.
Hello, nice guy. Me? Individual rivals? 100%. There were a lot of guys I didn't like. It didn't. Most of them pitchers because they were the ones that were getting me out consistently. But yeah, there were guys that I didn't like.
Yeah.
And I would try to do as much as I could to not have them be successful. Like if there was a guy I didn't like and he hit a ground ball to me, if I'm playing second base, if he hit a ground ball to me, I would just kind of catch it, hold it, take a couple steps toward first, and make him run.
Yeah.
And then throw it and get him out by half step.
Yeah.
When I did that, that's people knew that I didn't like that.
That was
my teammates would know for sure.
That's pretty funny.
Oh,
yeah. I like that.
Guys that I didn't like, I would get it. I'd kind of read the writing on the ball and then watching them run out of the corner of my eye. Get them by a half step.
Knowing that ball was still going to beat him.
Yes, I loved it.
Did that ever backfire on you where the guy was safe and your manager?
No. I made sure I didn't do that. Now, I'm sure I bounced a couple of them.
Yeah.
But I had some really good first basemen that took care of me. They could really play. They could really pick it, stretch, you name it. But no, I don't think I ever had anybody beat one out when I was doing that. But I definitely almost threw a few of them away.
Yeah. Is second base changing as a position in the major leagues?
I definitely think so offensively. Defensively, yes, I think everything has changed. The game is evolving, it's changing, and trying to find what it's going to be like every year is a little bit different now. You just have to wait and see. You don't really know because you've got different guys on different teams that can do different things. Not every second baseman's a power hitter. Not every second baseman can turn a double play or make that great, spectacular play when the game's on the line. So there are things that have definitely changed about it. It used to be guys that were, a lot smaller and more agile, so they can turn the double play and, more defensively is what it was really, geared toward. Now it's a lot of offense. You've got to have some offense. Make up for the defense wherever, but you've got to have a lot of offense. So, yes, it has definitely changed. I still see the change, but, kind of flip-flops back and forth, and obviously it depends on what the other team has or what, the rest of your team is personnel-wise.
Offensively, especially. We talked about this yesterday. Shortstop has definitely changed.
No question.
The days of the Pee Wee Reeses and the, even the Ozzie Smiths of the world and stuff, the smaller, not much of a stick kind of guy.
Defense first,
Yeah.
You don't see that much anymore. You see offense first. And in a way, it's kind of always been offense. And the old saying, it's been around since before I started playing. If you can hit, they'll find a place for you to play. Plain and simple. So you have to be able to swing the bat. There were very few positions where it was, hey, the guy, he's just defense first. We're not going to worry about his offense. We're going to put him out there so he can catch the ball and turn double plays. Don't see that very often.
Lunch hour, and now Jeff's making me hungry with that hat.
That's right. This is the new affiliate, the new high A affiliate, the Hub City Spartan Burgers, Spartanburg, South Carolina. Don't know why it's called Hub City. Didn't do my research, but they're brand new, first season coming up, and their logo was a burger.
Now, is that their normal? That's not their normal logo.
Yeah,
that's special day hat logo.
This is their. I think the everyday hat has a blue bill, so I went with the green bill. But yeah, so they're going to open up brand new downtown Spartanburg. Apparently, is big enough for a ballpark. So that's where you're going to find the guys who were in low A last year. They're going to be headed up from Kinston, which no longer is an affiliated ball, and going up to Spartansburg, and there you go, South Atlantic League action, and should be fun. But the coaching staff is mostly the same. They're going from Hickory to Spartansburg, and this logo is pretty fun. My daughter really likes it. I think she wants a hat.
I'm gonna tell you, I love that hat. I mean,
Yeah.
just the way it is with the green bill, that's a good-looking hat.
I'm all about the cheese. They even got the cheese hanging on.
Well,
that's what gets me.
I think their alternate hat is like the silhouette of the borders of South Carolina with a HC in it. It's a pretty sharp looking hat too. I think they did a really good job.
Yeah, so good. We have a new affiliate and a new place for you to visit if you're interested in all that kind of thing, which you probably ought to be. Those are fun trips to make to minor league ballparks. More coming as we get into Mac's memories. His memory banks will be tested as we start talking about his memories and experiences with the guys who were elected to the Hall of Fame this year. That's coming up on the DLLS Rangers podcast. First, though, we got to talk about Rugged Road, our favorite coolers. We got the big Rugged Road sitting right here, and it is such a great cooler. It's one that you want to definitely get. The seasons are changing. Even as we speak, it was like below zero when I woke up this morning, and it's going to be hot this afternoon. So that's cool. I like hot better. I think we all do. And so you're going to need a cooler. And when you have that choice to make the Rugged Road choice. It's the only choice to make. The design of these is fantastic. The construction of these is unbelievable. They're lightweight and they float, something that will be tested soon by me. I'm going to toss it in the pool, but I got to wait. I looked yesterday. The pool's at 39 degrees yesterday.
Oh, we were at 34. We had a little thin sheet of ice on ours, and so my wife freaks out.
Yeah.
So I went and broke it up, and we turned on the pool and all.
Turn everything on. Yeah. I've got some sort of a temperature thing that turns it on for me if it gets that low. Rugged Road, get one. Toss it in the pool. See if it floats. It'll also break up the ice. RuggedRoad.com, and you get 10% off.
And then FOCO, you also get 10% off when you use the code DLLS at FOCO.com. FOCO is where you can get pretty much anything, sports-wise, favorite team-wise. They help design our set, which we really appreciate. I was looking the other day, John, and I know you're big into the landscaping and the gardening, and of course we've talked over and over about the Lions overalls.
Yeah,
you can get Texas Rangers work gloves.
Can I?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we really need to complete your gardening.
That may have to happen.
And they were cheap. They're like $10.
Oh yeah. Oh,
yeah. So anything for any price range. Depending on how nuts of a fan you are, you can pretty much get anything too, including overalls, which John needs to get still. Even though
I said I would have gotten them if the Lions made the Super Bowl, Mac.
Oh,
the hell happened there?
Oh,
so anyway, FOCO.com DLLS 10% off.
Kills me still. I was talking to my sister. It's my sister's birthday. I was talking to her on the way in. They're still in Michigan. The whole state's in mourning.
I bet they are.
Oh,
I bet they are. But hey, three Detroit teams in the playoffs. I'm sure the Red Wings were in it last year, if I remember correctly. But yeah, you got Tigers and Lions.
Yeah.
Bears.
Pistons.
Oh my.
Pistons.
Maybe
but
not.
you know what? They're better. I mean,
Yeah,
they were like a 6-win team, and now they're, I don't know, maybe.
Cade Cunningham's a hell of a player. That's right.
Yeah,
from
that's
Arlington.
right. We got the skipper reminding us that Cade Cunningham's from Arlington. So anyway, let's talk about the Hall of Fame. And we were talking the day before. Mac was among you in the chat, and he was talking about the fact that Ichiro absolutely had to be a unanimous Hall of Famer. And I was like, Mac overlapped with him, right? We were, and you text back right away, 3 years. So he was worthy, and we all agreed. He was worthy of unanimous selection.
There's no question. I mean, when you get 3,000 hits, that's just part of it. He wasn't just an offensive player, but he did on both ends of it, offensively, defensively. I mean, who's better?
Yeah.
There are very few guys that were better than Ichiro in the outfield, at the plate, and I don't know what it takes to be a unanimous Hall of Famer. I mean, there are a few other guys that should have been as well. Ken Griffey, you got 600 home runs.
Yeah.
How are you not unanimous?
Right.
What did he not do? Cal Ripken, what did he not do? You play 14 years at a premium position at 6'4", 225 pounds, 14 years in a row, every day.
Every day.
And he got 3,000 hits.
Yeah.
And he wasn't a unanimous Hall of Famer. So I don't understand it. I don't know why. I've never really liked how the voting has gone, ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just one of those things.
Well, because you get the one guy out there. And I love that Ichiro was introduced with the class at the hall yesterday. And he says, through an interpreter, but he said, I would love to have whoever didn't vote for me over to the house, and we can have a drink and chat.
Dinner.
And chat.
Yeah, tell me. So tell me, what did I not do?
And Jeff's not happy about the fact that, at least to this point, the guy hasn't revealed himself.
Yeah. You got to be transparent about this stuff. I mean, even if it was just a clerical error, like you just thought, hey, man, of course I checked Ichiro. No, of course. And just folded it up and mailed it in. That's another thing. We actually have to mail in the ballot. So that gets sent to us, I don't know, November, December. It's got to be postmarked by December 31st, but we still fill it out on paper. We vote for MVP, Cy Young, Rookie, and Manager on electronically. So why can't we do that? And then the person who tabulates the votes, I believe is Jack O'Connell, the secretary of the BBWA. Can he look and go, well, come on, did you call the guy? Did you mean to do this? Did you mean to leave Ichiro off? Because you're the only one, brother.
Yeah.
I just think if you're bold enough to not vote for Ichiro for the Hall of Fame, you should just, hey, I'm the one who didn't.
Right.
Why not?
Here's why. Yeah. Right.
Just one reason, a good reason.
Yeah, please, a good reason. So was your first year in Seattle his first year in Seattle as well, or had he been there?
That was my second year.
Okay.
His first year was 2001. My first year was 2000.
Okay.
So he was a rookie when he got to Seattle.
When he first got there,
oh my God,
what are you guys all thinking?
Can he play? Look at him. He looks like a kid.
Yeah.
What's the big deal about this guy?
Yeah.
So we're going through our drills and workouts, for the first week or so. I'm watching some of his workout routines, and they're pretty interesting, a little different.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, all right. So, everybody was anxious to see that first game. What was he going to look like against big league pitching? And typically, the first week or so of big league camp, when games start, you're not really facing that number one or even, any one of the particularly 5 starters that are going to start for a team. You're probably facing some minor leaguers, but we still wanted to see. And boy, that first day was not very pretty. It was not pretty at all. And everybody's like, okay, they're counting so much on this guy, and he can't even pull the ball.
Wow.
Yeah. So the anticipation was there, but obviously getting through spring training, we saw day 2 of spring training, things changed. And I don't know how many people have heard this story. I'm going to tell it because it's absolutely true. There are some different versions and variations, but since I was in the dugout and saw it, my version is this. The very first day, his first at bat, he fouled a ball off, and we were playing, oh God, I don't know who we were playing. We might have been on the road, but we were at home. He hit one in the dugout, foul. The third base line, cleared the dugout. Everybody's running. Next at bat, same thing. Lou's in the dugout, and Lou was a little older, didn't move as well as he did, obviously, when he was a player. And Lou got hot. Ichiro ended up getting out. He comes over, and he said, son, again, my best Lou voice.
Son,
this is the big leagues. You're going to have to pull the ball over here. And that was it. He took him out of the game. He got his couple of at-bats in, and he went on in. Next day, he's in the lineup, leading off again. First time up, home run to right field.
Pulled
it. Next time up, another home run to right field. He comes back to the dugout. Everybody's giving him a high five. And Lou just looked at him and said, you're done, son. That's enough. Took him out of the game. That was it. And nothing changed after that. He just continued to, be who he is, put up that Hall of Fame career. But it was hilarious watching that.
Yeah.
It was a little scary getting out of the way of foul balls, but, it was fun.
Somebody told me that if somebody had said, Ichiro, we need you to hit 25 home runs this year, he would have hit 25 home runs.
He could have hit 30 home runs.
Yeah.
And we actually messed with him one year. The year that Matsui came over. Because he started taking all the, attention.
Sure.
And, because he's in New York, obviously, and, his nickname, Godzilla, and, hitting monster home runs. And we're like, Ichiro, come on, dude. You going to let him outdo you? And, what are you going to do? So he started trying to hit some home runs, and he did. But he went from 330, 340 to around 300.
Okay.
Now, I would take 300 no problem. But our team, we needed him to hit 330 and be on base and do the things that he did. So we finally said, hey, listen, we're not going to mess with you about Matsui anymore. We need you to be Ichiro if we're going to win. So you go ahead and do that. Don't worry about him. And that's what he did. He stopped trying to hit home runs and got back up in the 330, 340 range.
So we knew that Darvish spoke good English, could understand us, could have conversations with us. Was Ichiro the same way? I mean, he still uses an interpreter to this day.
100%. Ichiro speaks perfect English, speaks it fluently, understands it, and Spanish. And that's what people don't know. And Spanish, yes. So when people find that out, they're like, well, why does he use an interpreter? Well, from what I was told, we had the same agent. So from what I was told, Japanese players don't like to be taken out of context.
Right. And
it can still happen. So rather than have that happen, he uses an interpreter. His interpreter still uses the same interpreter, Alan Turner. And so we had great times, but he always wanted to make sure that he wasn't taken out of context.
Yep.
And that was huge for Japanese players.
So he got here speaking English.
Yes.
Wow.
No question about it.
Yeah. Well, Darvish's parents went to college in the United States.
I mean, they're both completely fluent in English. Yeah. And so was you, Darvish. But but that probably speaks. Does Darvish still use an interpreter as well?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
But whenever I run into him, we just talk.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, all right. So, memories of CC Sabathia, Karsten Charles Sabathia.
All right.
I'll tell you what, big game pitcher, no question about it. He had obviously a presence on the mound. Is 6'6", 6'7", 250, 260, whatever it was, maybe even heavier than that. But man, this young kid could pitch. I think he got to the big leagues in 2001. So I saw him a few times.
Yeah.
Probably didn't do that well because I don't remember much after that. So that probably meant Lou was pinch hitting for me, or I wasn't starting that game. One or the other.
I looked it up. You only face him in the 2001 postseason. So we've been in the division series, 0-for-2 with a walk.
Hey, there you go. I did
a walk.
You
never faced the next guy, Billy Wagner.
No.
Didn't
never
face
faced
Billy.
him
No.
because you were saying I don't remember facing him. I was like, well, there's a reason you didn't face him.
Yeah, he was in the National League. He was with Boston. I don't remember how long he was with Boston, but I know he was really in the National League, like I was in the American League.
Yeah.
The majority of my career.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And so Sabathia is going to wear, not surprisingly, but he's going to wear a New York hat. On his plaque, it'll have a Yankees hat. I pitched for Cleveland, pitched for the Brewers,
very briefly.
Yeah. So
won a Cy Young with Cleveland.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, there was probably some thought given, but he was 9 seasons in the Bronx.
Oh, there's no question.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where
he's a Yankee.
Yeah, that's where he became a Hall of Famer. Just like much like Adrian Beltre getting here, that's when he really became a Hall of Famer. He put up those numbers, and he, don't get me wrong, had great numbers before that, but you have to continue that. It's easier, obviously, to put up those kind of numbers when you're in your prime. But can you do it into your later years? Because that's really what's going to get you into that hall.
Yep.
Being able to play post 30 years old, 32, 30, when you're 37, 38 years old. Can you still go out there and get it done? AB did it. CC absolutely did it. So I think that's where guys really, when you play for a couple of teams or multiple teams, that's where you're going to make your Hall of Fame career towards the end of it.
Did you see the reaction when Billy Wagner got the call?
I did.
That was fantastic.
It
I mean,
is.
so authentic. It's like if you didn't see it, and we had it the other day. I should have had TC loaded again today to show you, but he just goes, "This is he," and then just broke down. I mean, when he heard the words, he just started crying into his arm, and his wife's there. I mean, that was just fantastic. That's how bad. Yeah. And it was his last year of eligibility.
There you go. And that's I think that was really a lot of it, because obviously he'd been through this for the previous 9 times, and not seeing his percentage go up and get closer and closer every year. You're thinking, hey, this is the year, and it doesn't happen. I'm sure there was disappointment. So to get that call, on his last time being eligible for it, I think that was pretty overwhelming. But it's also overwhelming to look at him as a competitor, that guy that's going to close the game, and he's coming in, and then you see his reaction getting into the hall.
Right.
It's like, that doesn't go together. He wasn't doing that when he was closing.
Right.
But, I definitely understand it. He was definitely overwhelmed, definitely well-deserved, too. He was one of the best closers, not just left-handed closers in the game, but closers, period, because you're a left-handed closer.
Yeah.
I think it takes more to be a left-handed closer because you're facing more right-handed hitters. You may face, one lefty when you come in to close, but you're predominantly going to be facing right-hand hitters. So to be able to go out there and get, 422 saves, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Did most of it for the Astros, but he had a great season late in his career with the Braves on a really good Braves team. So that's pretty cool, and it shows you what it means to these guys,
Yeah.
And maybe they don't realize it till the moment,
Yeah,
I don't know, but
it's hard. It's really difficult because I think fans see the finished product. They see everything, the game.
Yeah.
They see him close out, all the wins. They don't really know about the road, the path, all the obstacles, the injuries, the surgeries, the DL or IL stints. They don't really get that part of it. So when you see a player that has all that emotion, it's because of everything that you go through as a major league player, a minor league player coming through and then getting to that ultimate class, Hall of Fame class. That's a lot.
Yeah, it really is. Here's the Frisco Rough Riders hat.
yeah.
Jeff's now sporting that one.
If you're a history fan, you're a big fan of Teddy Roosevelt, 26th president. Became president because William McKinley got assassinated, but he's known for his pioneering days and going out west and
Rough Riders
during the Spanish-American War. But yeah, Frisco is hosting a Rangers caravan stop tomorrow during the day, 11 a.m. to 12:30. Among those there, off the top of my head, Josh Sports, Josh Smith, Dane Dunning, Jacob Webb, Mark Church. There might be another one, but Chuck Greenberg and the group, they do such a great job up there during the season. One of the most teams with the highest attendance in minor league baseball. So get up there to Riders Field either tomorrow or during the season.
Yeah. Their pool's probably at 39 or 34 degrees too,
No
so
kidding.
don't count on just taking a dip in the pool when you're up there. And by the way, there's a hotel and a restaurant and a bar down in San Antonio where Teddy Roosevelt got into a shootout. I can't remember the name of it, but I've sat there. They said, yeah, that hole right there caused by the Teddy Roosevelt shootout in the walls. So check that out, too. All right, we've got more coming up. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast, and we're talking about our cleanup segment next. Lots to talk about here and lots to get Mark McLemore's thoughts on as well. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. Yep, and I've got I'm sporting the merch today. This is really such a cool one. It's the baseball version of the Die Hard. I think we have other versions of the Die Hard, and I hear a sale's coming next week, people. So,
big sale.
I think, you might want to just wait a day or two to get your merch just to get a sale. But you should get it however you get it, and you'll appreciate it. You'll enjoy it. You'll get noticed wearing it, as I have done. So go to store.allcitynetwork.com to get the merchandise and be a diehard, and you get a free one, right? I mean, all you have to do is is to sign up for $79.99. You get a free shirt, and you get all of the things, and that's worth $35, by the way. And you get all the things that are behind the paywall, the things like what Jeff wrote today about Jon Gray. So, become a diehard today. I think that's the best way to avail yourself to all of the stuff, the content we provide.
For sure. And like I said, or like John said, diehard members get to read the Jon Gray story, and it's pretty good. I'm not going to pat myself on the back, but nobody else has it. I'll tell you that. So but when you get your shirt, you go to store.allcitynetwork.com and check out the merch. As Ardell pointed out, there was a new Mavs shirt last night. It's like a Kyrie Irving NBA Jam shirt. It's pretty slick. It's a couple of them sold during the show. I was paying attention to the chat last night, and we're going to do that too. We're going to have these shirts for something cool happens or somebody's on a tear. You'll get a chance for those Rangers shirts. But like John said, sale begins Monday. It's the I don't know if it's semi-annual or annual clearance sale from All City. So check that out at store.allcitynetwork.com.
All right, time for us to clean a few things up. And the first one, I was actually getting ready to have a whole segment about why the hell Jurickson Profar couldn't find a job.
Yeah.
But he did. He signed for 3 years, $42 million with the Braves, Mac. And it is what a rewarding sort of, this may be the cap, I don't know, but at least the next chapter in a career that was supposed to be this, right? The whole time we were there, Jurickson coming up, da-da-da-da-da, and it just never quite clicked for him.
Sometimes it takes you going to a different organization for that to happen. You can, start off in an organization and be that top prospect, and you've got all the glitz and the glamour. But when you get to the big leagues, it's a different story. You have to turn into that player. There are very few players that get to the big leagues and they're just on like that, from day one and stay that way through their entire career.
Yeah.
Everybody has ups and downs. It just took Profar a little bit of time to get there, to get to that point, to get to be that player that the Rangers anticipated him being back when they signed him. So it's great to see. He went through some things a couple of years ago, getting traded and not getting signed and signing late and then going and having a great year. And, so it's really good to see him be rewarded with this contract because he absolutely 100% earned it. This guy's turned himself into one of the best players, versatile players in the game today.
Yeah, he lost the 2 years right there at the start of his career because of the shoulder injury. 14, it was his second base was his because the Rangers had traded Kinsler for Prince Fielder, and the shoulder didn't cooperate, and then Rougned Odor came up, and so it was hard to find a place for Jurickson. But to your point, he played last year for $1 million.
Yeah,
and was an all-star. So good for him. I love Jurickson. Part of the reason why the Rangers traded him because in 18 he had a great year because Adrian was hurt a lot, and so Profar filled in at third base and looked like the third baseman of the future. It's like, hey, there's the guy. But Scott Boras is his agent, and the Rangers were concerned that Jurickson was not going to re-sign, was going to go to free agency and take top dollar, so they traded him. As that three-way trade with the A's and the Rays. That's how the Rangers got Brock Burke. Anyway, I'm very glad for Jurickson, and looking forward to. I think the Braves come here this year, so I'm looking forward to seeing them. Yeah.
It's great to see this whole thing come to fruition like that. When we had Joe Nathan on as a guest, I was telling the story of how when Jurickson hit his first home run, it was in Cleveland. I was on the road trip with the Rangers. We interviewed him on the field after the game, and he doesn't, his English wasn't fantastic at the time. And there's Joe Nathan who's trying to orchestrate the water dumping on him, and he's telling me to stretch. Stretch. I'm like, I'm running out of questions here, Joe. But we did. We stretched him long enough to get Jurickson wet, and he was welcome to the big leagues with style. But yeah, at that point, I think it was his first at bat.
First career at bat.
First at bat, he hits a bomb down the right field line, and we're just like, my God, here this kid is.
No, I was not at that series because our son had just been born, so I remember listening to that in the car. But Jurickson speaks 4 or 5 languages.
Yes,
he's from Curacao.
Yeah,
they speak various languages and dialects, and he's smart.
Yes,
and just loves the game. Loves the game.
So the Baltimore Orioles, one of Mac's former franchises, really kind of where was it Baltimore where you made it?
It was where I got my second chance.
Okay.
My first 5 years was with the Angels. I was one of the top prospects. Didn't work out there. Get traded to Cleveland. They were the second worst team in baseball, the worst team in the American League. Played there for 6 weeks, played very little. Got released that winter, signed with Houston, made their team out of spring training. They were the worst team in baseball. And then they released me, I think, in May or June of that year. And then that's when I signed with Baltimore.
Okay.
So once I got to Baltimore, Johnny Oates was there. And he was like, hey, I've seen you play before. I know who you are. I know what you can do. He said, so just go do it. That's it. That was it. That was the conversation.
That's all you needed.
That was all I needed. And so that was my second chance, my second opportunity to play every day again.
Yeah.
And I took advantage of it. But yeah, you got to have some people there on your side that give you the opportunity, and Johnny did that.
Yeah. Frisco Round Rock Express
Yeah,
now.
new hat. Yeah.
Was it their 25th anniversary this year that we
25th anniversary? Chris Almendares and Tim Jackson down there always do a great job. And if you go to the the Round Rock website, they have all kinds of variations on their hats. They have the Round Rock donuts, the Round Rock briskets, the Senators, all kinds of hats. So I went with the traditional, just the main home logo. I think this is an alternate home hat because it has the red bill. But if you haven't been down there to Dell Diamond, gosh, go down there. It's a great time.
Yeah, really fun place to watch a game. Now this Orioles story. They have reduced the prices on 11 concession items.
Oh.
Okay. So you can get a beer this year at Orioles Park at Camden Yards for $5.
Wow.
They're all $5 or under. Hot dogs and water are $4. Popcorn $3.50 and peanuts $2.50.
That's still way too high for water.
$4. Yeah, but the
What
point
was it before?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And what is it like? What is it out at Globe Life Field? $7-8? I don't know.
Yeah, it's high.
Yeah.
In Baltimore, as you know, you need that water in the summer. Holy crap.
Yeah. Now, that said, like when you get the $5 beer, is it a Dixie cup? I don't know, right? It might not be your full.
That's a good point.
Commemorative.
And what is it? Is it Natty Bo?
It might be. It might be. So, but anyway, I like the effort, right? It's making this thing fan friendly.
New ownership. So maybe that's the.
Yep. It's making it fan friendly. And, I've never tried to eat at the Whataburger at Globe Life Field, but Abby said it's going to be $100 for a family.
I walked by during Fan Fest and to get a triple, not that I would have gotten a triple, $20. That's just the burger.
For the burger. Yeah.
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 So, because the All-Star game was there last year, and the media, rather than providing a meal, they just gave us a
voucher.
Yeah. I went down there. I was like, all right, I'll take a number one. It was, I can't remember the price, $12.99 or a little higher than the out, or an actual store. And they're like, okay. And they just brought out the burger. I was like, what? Hang on a second. Where are the fries and the drink?
Did
They're like,
was
that's
it
a la
wrapped at all?
carte. It was wrapped. But I was like, damn it. So it ended up being like $22.
Yeah. And did the voucher cover all of it?
It did. Well, it did because I didn't get the Coke.
Gotcha.
Because they had sodas upstairs. It was just burger and fries. It was like $23.
Wow.
And the voucher was $25. I think. Or I had 2 vouchers because I didn't use it the day before. Something like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, hats off to the Orioles' new ownership, and that's a great environment for baseball too.
It is.
It's awesome. One of the best places I played. It was the best place to play for a long time. Watching fans stand up for an entire game. That was the first place it really happened, up over the bullpens in left center field when it first opened in '92. I was part of that team, '92, '93, '94, my 3 years in Baltimore. Just fantastic playing there. I mean, we didn't make the playoffs in a year. We were fairly good. But just the fans there, they absolutely know baseball. They love baseball. When you're out in the public, they're talking baseball with you. So just a great atmosphere. And it's, Cal Ripken's in this group as well, this new ownership group. So it's great to see him be able to have more influence and back in the organization, which is where he belongs. One of the greatest players ever.
Yeah. Yesterday was would have been Johnny's birthday. Did you see that?
79, right? Is that
79. And I would have guessed older. He was an old soul, Matt, right?
He was.
And anybody like me too, when you go white or gray early in your, people are still surprised or bald. Yeah. People are still surprised I'm only 42. I mean, it's just,
they are.
Yeah, they're shocked.
Me.
Yeah. Shocked. No, but Johnny seemed older but what a great guy and a great friend of yours.
Yeah. Great guy, great manager, great person, great man, father, husband, man of faith. He meant a lot to me, obviously, in my career. I played for Johnny for 8 years, 3 in Baltimore, and then 5 here.
Yeah.
So for sure, one of my favorite people.
Yeah, absolutely, Mac. Well, you're one of our favorite people. We appreciate you joining us again on the program. It's great to have Mark McLemore here. We appreciate each and every one of you being here, too, not only today, but all week long. We are back next week. I think we're here pretty much at noon every day next week, Jeff.
I haven't even looked.
I think we are.
Just assumed so.
Special guest on Monday, too. Dave Raymond is going to stop by on Monday. So we're lousy with guests all of a sudden.
Noon all 5 days next week.
Yeah, so we love it. We love you. Thank you. And we'll see you again next week on Monday for another edition of the DLLS Rangers Podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.